Hello and welcome to Noobs in Progress. My name is Nathan, and here with me I have
Ethan Murphy, Nathan Bitty's friend.
Hello, Ethan. How are you doing today?
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'm zany to the max.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Nathan Bitty
Yes.
Jr. the
Awesome.
third, my dear friend. How are you?
I am. I can't think of any of the other bits. I'm something in my pants. I don't know.
Wow.
Good night, everybody.
Oh
And
my
we're
God.
off. We're off
Yes.
already.
So this week we watched. Ethan, do you want to, if folks haven't already guessed, Ethan, if you want to tell everybody what we watched this week and what we're going to talk about.
Of course, the answer is yes to all the above. My co-freaking friend. We watched the Animaniacs, the new Animaniacs, the one that is on Hulu. Animaniacs, I guess 2020 more or less, or the Animaniacs Reboot, and it was a lot of fun. We were our guest Eric Prochnow was going to join us, but he was indisposed. He had something to take care of. Wasn't able to join us again. He sends his regards. But so Nate and I will carry on in his stead.
Yes.
And Nate, I'm guessing you had a chance to check it out yourself.
Yes. Yes, and a slight clarification: we did just watch the first episode, because we couldn't. Like I know I couldn't binge the whole season, though I would have loved to. I couldn't. So we did just the first episode to kind of get, because we knew that kind of the first episode would be like the "Hey, we're back" episode, and it was. So
it definitely was.
Yeah.
But it was great.
So I did.
It was great.
Yeah.
I believe that was that was something that you said it would be. It's pretty much like this is going to be a very much like, hey, we know because they're a whole the originators a lot of ways of the meta humor, especially within cartoons, breaking the fourth wall and everything else.
Yes,
dressing elephants in the rooms and everything else. So of course they didn't pull any punches. It was great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I loved the two songs, the song at the beginning, my brain is just complete fudge right now. Like actual just melted fudge.
Good. Nice.
But yeah, like they had a song about reboots, which was great, and then they had another song in the third part. But yeah, the songs were great. They did a Pinky and the Brain episode. They did what I think they needed to do, which they only did the Yakko, Wacko, and Dot and Pinky and the Brain. Those are the only two they did in the first episode, and I think that's because those are the fan favorites. Like, we're probably going to get the Good Feathers in another episode. We're probably going to get like all this other stuff, and then those of you who have watched the whole season probably are like, yeah, you dummy. But for this one, they did just those two, which I think was good. But they did a really good job bringing it all back, kind of doing the, like catching them all up and all of that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I loved it, and I hate to be that guy, but I did watch about the next 3 episodes, and I do believe that it is just the Warner Brothers and the Sister Dot and Pinky the Brain.
So they're not doing a good.
Yes, I don't, because I haven't seen. There's 2 main reasons. One, I haven't seen any other characters like Buttons and Mindy, who I love a lot, Chicken Boo or Slappy or any other kind of stuff. I haven't seen them. Number 2 is the theme song. In the theme song itself, if you remember that the opening intro, it's similar, but there are some differences.
Oh yeah.
So I actually pulled up the intro right here. I'm going to read it to you. I will not sing it because we would get sued and copyrighted and shut down immediately. But I will sing. I will sing the parts. So the changes. Let's see, where is it? Here. Okay. So meet Pinky and the Brain, who want to rule the universe. A brand new cast who tested well in focus group research. Gender balanced, pronoun neutral, and ethically diverse. The trolls will say we're so passé, but we did meta first. So those are the new lines in the opening theme song. And it doesn't. And before it would actually go through the whole cast of characters. Yeah. Now it literally just goes Pinky the Brain, and then a whole new group of tested research group. So I don't believe anyone besides those main characters are back.
Okay. Well, that I will admit that makes me sad. I was hoping we would get to see Good Feathers, at the very least. Like, Mindy and I can't remember what was the name of the dog.
Buttons
Mindy and Buttons. I liked that because of the callback to like old Looney Tunes cartoons,
Mhm.
um I guess my jaded, self back then was more into the meta and the Pinky and the Brain and all of that. So they weren't my favorites. But
Sure.
but it does make me sad that they're not going into the other stuff. But maybe they will, like, because Lord knows that they're doing another season. Like, if they can, they'll probably do
Yes.
another season.
Oh,
And maybe
100%.
they'll, yeah.
100%. Yeah, there was another part. I think it was it must have been in this episode. I watched this episode more than once to make sure I was fresh in my brain. And I feel like there's a part where they reference the idea of 2 seasons. They got 2 seasons as opposed to just one. So I guess they plan already to come back for another season. And the second season might have, or I guess it would be the 6th or 7th season might have, Good Feathers and Slappy and all the crew. I wasn't sure. It may have been because of the voice actors, because I don't know if all of the voice actors for all those other characters are around, and that might be why they decided not to, why they weren't able to go that route, or what.
That's entirely possible. Like I can't remember off the top of my head who did the voices for the characters in the Good Feathers. But it is possible that one of them wasn't one of the Yakko Wacko and Dot and Pinky and the Brain folks, and it just they couldn't get them, or maybe they were not able to do it for whatever reason.
Right.
But that's a possibility. But I really liked it. I thought they did a good job. I had a feeling we wouldn't see Dr. Scratch and Sniff. I don't know if we're going to see Dr. Scratch and Sniff later on. I also found it interesting that we didn't see the nurse.
I know.
We didn't see her. They avoided it, at least in the first. They didn't go anywhere near that, and I had a feeling they wouldn't, because that has become not okay in societal norms. Like, not that it was frankly ever okay, but it has, society has just, yes. Yeah.
I mean, definitely now it's like, oof, what are you doing? But back then it was like, oh, that's commonplace for cartoons. Also, they were seen as Yakko and Wacko were almost like, are they children? So it's kind of like, it's cute enough.
Yeah.
And the nurse, even though she was drawn as busty, she was drawn the way she was drawn. No shame, no king shame. But she was as objectified as she was. She wasn't like, she wasn't engaged in it. She was like, yeah, do this. Or she was like, oh, she was like trying to walk away from them. She was pretty much like, I'm not having this. I'm just over here. Leave me alone, kind of thing, for the most part. But you still couldn't do that now.
Yeah, and really that character almost as a whole is not like, because not only is it the way she's drawn, because she's drawn like, essentially Jessica Rabbit in a nurse's costume and a blonde wig. But you've also got the fact that she's playing the blonde ditzy character, number 1 or number 2, actually. And then there's the catcalling and the whole, like, that whole piece.
Exactly.
So pretty much, I have a feeling when they got to that, it was like, okay, so are we going to bring back the? No, we're just not going to do that. Just to
the point where even in the show, as meta as the Waters are, they don't even mention it. They don't even mention it at all.
Oh yeah,
it's not like they never say, "Where's the nurse?" Nope, none of that. Also, there's another nurse replacement where they have them catcalling at that. Nope, there's no. It's just gone all together.
So,
right. Well, what's funny, what they did, they did the reverse of that, where they had the essentially, I guess, the CEO or the studio head of Warner Brothers is this powerful woman now, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, just a woman that's running the place, but she's very much. There's a part where I can't remember the exact line that she used, but it was to the effect of, "I'm at the top and I pulled the ladder up behind me."
Any interest in mentoring a young future CEO?
No, I'm a firm believer in pulling up the ladder behind me.
It's like.
Yeah,
I love how it was worded. I love the idea too. It's like, it's perfect. It's almost basically it's a super ego tripping woman in place. That's perfectly fine. It's the exact opposite of nurse in a way.
Yeah. It's almost like they kind of, in a weird way, combine Scratch and Sniff and the nurse a little bit in the characters. And then like, okay, this is going to be their foil. I did like how they had Ralph. They still had Ralph.
Of course.
And I did.
And that's one of the best jokes. Is his first word.
And something that really captures the intricacies of your character for old and new fans alike.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I did find it interesting though. And now that I think about it, the fact that they did spend a lot of time on Ralph. And at least in my memory, Ralph wasn't that big of that threesome because it was Scratch and Sniff, the nurse, and Ralph. They were the three, like, always trying to keep control of the Warners.
Right.
And Ralph, of the three, frankly, he was just the muscle and the physical, and they really didn't like his were just visual gags that was very like he would chase them, they would, incapacitate him in some way and then go on their way. And that was it. All of the dialogue and the interaction, the majority of it was with Scratch and Sniff and the nurse.
Right.
So I found it
mainly
interesting.
Scratch and Sniff. Mainly. Because the nurse, it was just cat calls at the nurse and then Dot rebuking them on some level for it.
Yeah.
So it's mainly Scratch and Sniff.
Where in this, they spent so much time interacting with Ralph. And I was like, wow, Ralph's getting the screen time he deserves, man.
The screen time he deserves. I love it. I love Ralph. I love the idea too that his intro is a break into or go back into their home, the water tower, and they see that this elaborate laser system to keep them away from getting there. And then of course Wacko easily gets through it to get to his extremely moldy old 22-year-old sandwich. Then of course walks back to the laser field with no hat, no cares whatsoever, and. To this, you imagine that this massive Mission Impossible like trap they'll go off this sort of spring to capture them, and it's like the most basic net just drops down where they would have been as opposed to where the actual criminals probably would have gone to, and then,
where the sandwich was.
That's where the sandwich itself was. And they say, what kind of an idiot would design this? And cut right on cue to Ralph sleeping, bacon and eggs on his lap. Perfect. Perfect.
That was my sandwich dance. Yeah, that was, I thought that was a great gag. That I felt that was really good. And yeah, I love the reboot, and also, the reboot song, with
yes, of course.
Yeah. And you caught the gag that I'm sure you saw the gag and you were like,
Golden girls be darker if we resurrect the Arthur.
And
so what did you do when you saw that? Did you like gasp and like
I just kind of like as they were saying it, I can't remember exactly what the line is, but as they were saying it, I was like, there it is. This is the Golden Girls joke. I knew they were going to do one, and they're doing the Golden Girls joke because they had to, because the Golden Girls has become part of that revived thing that's happened in the last couple of years. It's starting to fall out of favor, obviously. Excuse me, but I knew they were going to do one just because especially because this was written in 2018, so
right, 2018.
The writers, so they're a little,
which is beautiful to how they address that too. The idea that they say there's a part where it says if we assume Trump is still president, our writers wrote this in 2018, that they're aware of that other fact, like almost using again the fourth dimensional time law traveling kind of thing. Like, we know this is existing in 2020. However, we wrote this in 2018, so we don't know if what we're saying is actually technically true or if it's in Schrodinger's cat time space. But it was beautiful how they did that, how they set that up.
Oh yeah. When they start
even during that song, they have there's a part where it shows like Hillary Clinton in the background running around running Hillary Clinton walking kind of like Obama's footsteps essentially.
Obama brought hope, so Clinton thought dope. 2016 should be a real breeze.
So Hillary finally broke that glass ceiling? No.
Well, and then I was interested to see if they would full on address it, like if they would, address the shitstorm with which we live. And they did more directly than I expected. Like but they did it in a very, they did it in a way that would not offend either side, which, I can appreciate, because obviously they're trying to, they're not trying to piss any group off, and also it's a cartoon, so they don't want to get too much marred in the like they don't want to go in the SNL route, which because ethanol
Ethanol exists. You put it in your car so you can go faster. Plus, my name is actually the first 5 letters of that word.
Yes, or put it in your veins. It'll cure COVID. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No,
don't do that. No. No. Do not listen to certain people who believe that. Anyway, so, oh God. Anyway, but I really liked how they did address those things. I thought it was funny, and I did like when they were kind of like, we're starting this and we have no idea, so let's just do random predictions. And so they just started doing random ass predictions. And the whole time though, that whole part when I'm doing the predictions, I'm going, they had no clue. Like they just had no clue. Like while their predictions were like completely wacky and obviously off the wall, but at the same time, there was a little bit of like, yeah, no, that I would have preferred that. Yeah, I would take that option. Yeah, give me that, please.
That's just it. Is that our reality is literally wackier than Animaniacs. That's what that happened. That happening has happened. Yeah, that happened. So it's insane. It's bananas. Another thing I loved about the show too. Obviously, we get into the songs and we get to the coital questionnaire. Yes, we get to the book to get the nitty gritty of things, but the actual songs themselves felt very much like the songs from back in the day, from back in the 90s when they had the show, which made the whole show overall, including obviously the voice actors and even the way it was drawn, the style in which it was drawn. Of course, it was a higher res version of things, but it was digital, I guess, too. But it still felt very much in tune with the original show, and it felt very much like, oh, it was nostalgia in the sense of like, oh yeah, it's been so long since I actually watched a cartoon like this. They don't make them like this anymore. They don't make cartoons that have this kind of level of humor. They have the kind of zany characters that are loonified. It doesn't exist. So it was a blast.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I'm actually looking it up right now.
But 98.
There's Randy Rogel. That's what it is. Additional music is composed by those who are trained by original. Oh, okay. So that's why I was looking up to see if Randy Rogel, who was the original writer, original songwriter for Animaniacs, I was checking to see if he was involved, and it looks like he wasn't directly involved, but essentially his and Richard Stone's proteges were. So that's why it kind of kept the I don't know why. I'll be back.
USB. We'll miss you.
Look, I'm back.
There you are. Hey. It's your reboot. You had your own reboot. Well done.
Yeah, I did. I did my own reboot. See, I've missed all new ideas and decided to just go with some old ones. But yeah, Randy Rogel, he is a powerhouse of just musical talent. Like he just, amazing. Like I remember hearing a story where apparently he was driving down the road and there had been a song that he was working on, and he couldn't quite get it right. Like there was just something. It was a song he was trying to write and it just wasn't working. And he was driving home and he was on the 405 and a lyric came into his head and a melody came into his head. And he like cut across 3 lanes of traffic to pull over onto the shoulder and like got to a stop, pulled out his notebook and just started furiously writing. And it ended up being like, it wasn't the country song, but it was the it was another song that was like really big. Yeah, like it was like it was
an iconic one that's long.
Yeah, I think it might have been one that maybe one that had to do with a body. I'm not sure. I'll have to look up the story. But like he just he just like whipped it out and like that sounded bad.
Good night, everybody.
But
in traffic too. In traffic, you are a father of 2.
Across 3 lanes. Anyway.
Well done, Randy. Well done.
Well done. Please don't sue me. But yeah, so he apparently pulled over and just like finished the song. And that was just the type of person he was. And he was just, and apparently he was doing a tour with Rob Paulson around the country. They were touring, doing essentially like, music music of Animaniacs and other cartoons, and I thought that was
well.
fun.
So I saw it. Now it wasn't. No, I don't believe. No, it wasn't. But when I was in college, I went with this group, this like youth group type of thing, to Atlanta to celebrate the new year, going from '99 to 2000. And there was a group there that was performing the Countries of the World song.
Oh, nice.
And they had a guy playing the piano, playing the melody with them, where they sang the song. They sang the entire song. It was 3 people singing the song, meant to be similar to the Animaniacs, even though I believe the actual song just has Yakko by himself singing it.
Oh yeah,
it's just 3 of them that were singing it together, and they had a person playing the piano. But the thing is, they didn't say with the original composer Randy, but they did not say it. So I don't know.
So we're just gonna go with that.
We're gonna do what all Americans do best and just assume blindly until hubris or karma punches us in the nuts.
Yes, squaw in the nuts. Anyway,
squaw in the nuts.
But so yeah, I thought it was great. So yeah. So do you want to do the questionnaire?
Of course. So this question will be maybe a little different because we're dealing with a comedy show that you and I grew up with that's now been rebooted. So some of these questions will kind of apply to that and whatnot. So the first one, of course, is: did it live up to your expectations or did it fall short?
Oh, it lived up to him. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, 100%. It definitely did. I was laughing out loud. Actually, I had a big grin on my face the entire time because I was just like, wow, this actually is real. And it's actually good. There have been quite a few reboots of cartoon shows, not just movies, but reboots of shows, essentially. And they put out a bunch of them. They put out X-Files and Gilmore Girls and whatnot. But even other ones like DuckTales and then Voltron, cartoon shows have been brought back. Even the Ninja Turtles has had several reboots, essentially. And they don't always get it. Pretty much anytime you reboot something, you're going to change something about it so it won't feel the exact same way. You'll make some kind of update to make it feel more modern for a new audience. This one felt, bizarrely enough, like it was still very much in tune with the original show, but still relevant enough and current enough to work, which is maybe because the original show was kind of ahead of its time. So it's just that now it's actually, this kind of a show is just an accurate kind of show. It's actually on time now.
Yeah, it's going to be fun when it it's going to be interesting when we're really old and they're going to look back at that and be like, oh, look, that's quaint.
Right. but there's even that joke. I don't want to get too far off track here, but there's a part in the Pinky and the Brain episode where they're talking about memes and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, at the time when that show originally aired, those weren't around, and the popularity of social media didn't exist. And it's like, wow, this is cutting edge now. But of course, like you said, a couple years ago, what the hell? So.
Yeah, I the Pinky, we barely touched on the Pinky and the Brain episode, but
the Brain episode.
Yeah, it was, that episode was that vignette story. I can't even remember what they call them. The portion of time between the Warner Brothers and Dot things.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. How many words can I say it in? Let's see if I can do more. But it was funny. I thought I found it interesting how that, like, they had the brain work. Like they didn't really get fully clear on what the brain was working on for those 22 years. They basically was like, yeah, he's basically like, I'm going to work on this for 22 years. Work on what? Like, what are you doing?
I think they're trying to imply that he literally built the internet.
At last, Pinky, my humble invention has finally come to fruition. Behold, the age of the internet.
I guess.
I think they're trying to say that, but that's really, I mean, I don't know, but that was my. I love how I did that little thing for the passage of time, and it shows them like what was that show they were referring to? It was like one of those shows. It was old, like the 60s or 70s shows. But we can't even we can't play a clip later on with that for the music and everything because it will get a copyright. So much so that even in Animaniacs when they made the reference to it, they had to cut off after like 5 seconds. Like, wait a minute, we're getting into copyright time, so we'll stop right here.
Yeah. We're do you want to get sued?
It was perfect.
Yeah,
they did was perfect.
The only thing about that, and I recognize that like part of the Brain's shtick is the fact that like his gimmicks, like are wacky but they always have this like one portion of it that if he had just done it a little bit differently,
yes,
he would have been successful. Like if he had just put that like hypno whatever thing in that he put in the meme, if he had just built that into the internet at large, since he was supposedly an architect of it,
building it, yeah.
Yep, he would have. There you go, world on a platter,
right.
you know. But I've got to say though, the gag at the end or the gag in the thing where like they put it up and he's like waiting for the views and there's no views, and then he's like, and then he looks and he sees that it's Pinky, and Pinky's like. I'm like, I died.
Well, because the thing is, it's like this kid is hitting so close to home. It's like, wow, that's hitting really close to home for us.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how many times that I'm like, I'll be checking like, oh, the video got a view, got a like, awesome.
Hey, view. Someone out there loves us. Someone. Yes,
and it was Ethan.
And you see me waving at you. Hi, Nate. I watched the video that I'm in.
It's like, well, it's a view. I'll take it. You know.
Exactly. And your wife wonders why you're so angry at me all the time. But it was great to see that. And I love because it was very classic Pinky the Brain in the sense that I never went on this massive diatribe of Pinky the Brain, but we should have done it before. But anyways, the idea that Brain, like you said, pretty much he does basically succeed. He gets onto Seth Meyers, which the show clearly doesn't like that much.
Hi, I'm Seth Meyers, and the reason this phase is a lot on TV is no one's watching anyway.
They were shitting on Seth Meyers hard.
Wow. But he gets onto Seth Meyers, and right before, of course, he goes on there, he gets bumped because Pinky releases another video that hypnotizes everybody to watch something else and fall in love with the pig that's doing this, tracking the stock market, the stock exchange or whatever it is. And that's what happens habitually, is that something he'll be really close and Pinky will somehow find a way to essentially inadvertently foil his plans. However, the Brain, as smart as he is never like, I refuse to work with you anymore, Pinky. I have to do this by myself. I'm much better on my own. It's like, no, he still always has him with him because it's his best friend. So it's kind of like, well, you're setting yourself up for defeat every time. But
it's this like symbiotic, you know. It's this. Well, that was a great joke. Yeah, well, that was a great joke when they were like, when Pinky comes up and he says like, so what have you been doing for the past 22 years? And he's like, oh, well, I've been working with my therapist to discover that we're in a codependent relationship that's both physically and mentally abusive, you know? And he goes, shut up, Pinky. And he goes, okay, I deserve that.
Right, I love it. And then like right after that joke, because there's some kind of joke too where he says like something where Brain says something, the idea of like the human brain. And Pinky says, there's a human version of you, and Brain just smacks him on the head with the photo. It's just like these I miss little pithy jokes that work. I miss good comedy. I miss good comedy.
Yes, I do as well.
Yes.
But
all right,
but
so
yes.
back to our coital. All right. Speaking of bad comedy, back to our post-coital questionnaire.
Yes.
Did you see what you were hoping to see?
Yes, I was hoping to see them to see them basically go at like be meta, also not pull any punches, you know, and they really didn't. They kind of went for the social commentary, which I liked. And I just think I think it was an excellent job. They did an excellent job at that. So I saw what I wanted to see. So
yeah, me too. Me too. I think we talked before last time, checking my notes here. We talked about some things we were hoping we wouldn't see, some of the things we wanted to see. And you mentioned obviously return to form. And you guys, you and Proc, Eric Proc now both mentioned the idea of coming back with return to form and some political and social commentary. And they definitely did that. They did that in droves. So it was great, but again, it wasn't too heavy-handed. It was just done just the right way. And I was hoping to see I did want to see some of the cameos and references to pop culture without being too overwhelming. And they definitely had, we talked about Seth Meyers. They just had that there. They had obviously the songs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's Seth Meyers, and they've dragged Seth Meyers through their
I think Seth Meyers must have dated one of them, and they're really upset. They're writers or what have you. They're jaded. Like,
I'm thinking that like some writer, Seth Meyers pissed off one of those writers.
Yeah, clearly, or divorced one of them, or both of them, or what have you. Something went down with him. All right. So the next thing is, so it is a reboot. Do you wish? Do you wish it had come sooner? Do you think it came at the right time? Are you happy to have it?
I think it, like that's hard. That's a hard question to answer because I think it came at an okay time. Like I don't think it might have succeeded as much or better if it came earlier or later. I don't know. That's a hard thing to say. Like, yes, I wish I had more Animaniacs in my life. Like, it just, just because, like, it would make life a little sillier and probably a little better. It came when it needed to come.
That's what I think too. I think it came I think it came right on time because it came at a time when I'm guessing in 2018. Also, we were still in the midst, obviously, of of the Orange administration. And it was kind of like there was so much chaos going on. It's like, how are we not writing more comedy about this? I'm guessing that kind of what drove the writers to want to get back to making a show as a platform to poke fun at it, basically. And so seeing it as we're dealing with all this stuff, as we're still in the midst of a pandemic and craziness is with everything else in the world, it seems like it came right on time. Like I said, I had a smile on my face the entire time, and I was laughing at just actual intelligent jokes, also just goofy ass jokes. It was just what I needed. So it came right in the nick of time, essentially. Okay. Here's the fun part. So what was your favorite part or, favorite joke, if you can think of one in particular, outside of the Golden Girls from this episode?
I'm sorry. Say that again. You blipped out a little bit.
Oh, sure. What was like your favorite part or favorite joke of the episode? If you can think of something besides the Golden Girls.
Besides the Golden Girls gag. I will have to put it at the bit that Pinky was like I've been working with my therapist to discover that this is a codependent physical and emotional relationship, or that you abuse me in those ways. And then he goes, "Shut up, Pinky." And he goes, "Okay, I deserve that." Like that probably was my favorite gag in the whole thing.
Right. I love it.
What about you?
Ironically enough, mine was also in the Pinky and the Brain. I mean, granted, listen, people, we love the Warner Brothers and Sister Dot. We love them to death.
Oh yeah.
It just so happens in this episode, both our favorite bits were in the Pinky and the Brain episode. Mine was when he was when I guess because I can relate to him. Brain was trying to make some kind of video to go viral or whatever, but he kept failing, and it just so happened while he was on the globe, he was like he was spitting on the globe, and he goes, "Next, no, not the Himalayas." I think he was recording that, and it played it over and over, and so of course you hear Maurice LaMarche, the granddaddy of awesome voice actors, saying "not the Himalayas" over and over and over again as he gets smacked in the face. I couldn't stop laughing at that.
Yeah,
so that was my favorite part.
That was good.
So yeah, and I guess I would say this part too. So I was gonna say, did you laugh? Did you cry? I know that you laughed, obviously. Did you cry? Why not? Did you cry?
No, there wasn't anything. They didn't try to seriously jerk any tears, or anything else for that matter. So yeah, the laughter, it was laughter, but no tears. This was a happy place.
It definitely
a happy zany place.
It was a happy zany place. And I would say, as far as we usually ask this part in our questionnaire too, is like, what is your least favorite part? It wasn't actually a least favorite part. It was a least favorite by omission for me, which is just like you said, that it seems like the other characters of the cast and crew of the Animaniacs may not be in the show, which is kind of a bummer. But at least we got what we got. I guess I'm kind of the same thing. There really wasn't anything that I was like, ooh, there was really nothing like that. So, it was good. It was great.
Solid
It was good stuff.
first outing at least for the first episode, and I'm very
100%.
excited to watch the rest.
Now, let me ask you this: do you know if, because obviously the episode opens with the Jurassic Park parody,
Yeah.
clearly Steven Spielberg was like, cool, animate me again, because he was in a bunch of episodes before and also in Tiny Toons a couple times. But was that? Do you know if that was Spielberg's actual voice? Did he actually come in to?
We've got to check that because I was curious.
Yeah.
I was very curious. Nope, it was not him. He's not listed, so I'm sure they probably just had one of the voice actors pretend to be. I'm confirming it by omission because it basically I looked at his IMDb. I tried doing the Animaniacs, but because everybody does more than one voice, it's wacko / ... and I can't see what any of the other stuff is because I know that they did like 17 voices.
At least.
So I went to Steven Spielberg's IMDb, and he hasn't officially acted in anything since 2011. So,
okay, all right, that's smart.
Yes.
Smart detective work
Yes.
there. That was well worth the climactic.
Oh yes,
that we built up. That's why we need to have more rehearsals for things.
What it's gonna be with the video on demand and what the podcast is gonna be is it's gonna be. Was Steven Spielberg the actual voice? No, he wasn't. I did that by omission. It's just gonna cut right there.
It'll be immediately so fast. I was gonna
and this conversation will make no sense.
No, I'm leaving all this in. I'm leaving all this nonstop the padding of nonsense in there. But I was going to put in there the actual, like when I asked that question, put in a little graphic of the same way we had the Pinky and Brain, where it's like the Passion of Time with the spinning worlds, for that show. I gotta find that show. Don't look it up because that takes us another 2 hours to look up. Like I'm gonna find out exactly what that show is because I know it's some popular show. A person passes through time. So we'll get that straight. But anyway, but yeah.
Oh, was it Passes Through Time? Was it Sliders? No, not Sliders.
No.
What's the one where the guy?
Older.
Was it the guy?
Now you're gonna see now you can't stop.
See now I can't stop thinking.
No, I know. God damn it.
The guy the guy that jumps from Quantum Leap.
You're thinking of Quantum Leap. No, it's not.
Oh,
it's earlier than that too. It's the music. It's very. You can tell it's like very 70s music.
Okay.
And it's like da 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 da.
We will do our we'll do our research. This is better than me looking it up.
No, I disagree. It is not. It is not.
Oh, Jesus
it
Christ.
is not. It is not.
Okay.
If you get a copyright strike for that, I'll be happy because, like, well, all right, it was my version was close enough to earn us a copyright strike.
Hey, Ethan, guess what? You're talented. Anyway, okay, so we've got off the thread. So what?
Finally, that's something.
Yeah. So what? What else is on the questionnaire? Did we go through it all, or we still got more?
So we mainly did. There was yes, that was it. That was
okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's one other question, but that I
does it not make sense?
No. Yes, if you were a mouse traveling at 5 miles an hour, no. It's
You'd be a fucking fast mouse.
Yeah, if you could travel 5 miles, which reminds me of Speedy Gonzalez. Remember Speedy Gonzalez? Which they also, for a while, they got rid of him. They said, "Oh, he's racist." He having a character, and then they went back and brought him back again. And said, "Wait a minute, maybe he's not." So it's a reboot of that one character. But no, the question was just, did you see what you were afraid you were going to see?
Oh, I thought we had talked about that. We were talking about that. And was there anything? Was there any question after that? Okay, that was the end.
That's the one that I didn't officially ask you. The other ones, otherwise it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's it.
Okay. I think that pretty much wraps up. That pretty much wraps up our review of the Animaniacs. So yeah, we will be back here next week to watch another thing, and we'll let you know next week what that thing will be. Also, we will be, for those of you watching the stream, we will be coming back to play a little bit of video games. Not as long tonight because I gotta get working on a turkey tonight. So that's kind of my job. So but so I think, Ethan, do you have anything to say before I wrap this hubby up?
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Johnny Sins.